want to thank the attendees who are here, and we will begin in a few minutes. I do want to give families a couple of minutes to join us, so we will get started probably at about 6:33. That sounds like a time that Jennifer would use in a board meeting. So
To be precise, I would start at 6:30 on the dot every time. I would end in 45 minutes. If I had my way. Hello, Miss Brown.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. I will proceed to drop the link to the presentation in the chat so that everyone will have access to it. We are going to ask that when we get to the question and answer portion that we do utilize our Q&A function if possible. And families, you can always raise your hand if you would like for us to acknowledge you and you would like to speak. That's perfectly fine. Ms. Bookman, can you move? Hold on. Can you move Ms. Ivory over?
Done.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. She didn't move. Oh, here she comes.
Hello, Miss Ivory.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you, Pam.
You're welcome.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get started in 1 minute at 6:33. And again, I will drop the link into the chat again for those of you who want to access the presentation this evening. And again, we would like to communicate via our Q&A, or you're more than welcome to raise your hand and we will acknowledge you as we go throughout our time this evening.
Ms. Hopkins would like to be moved over, please. She has her hand raised, and I assume that's why.
Thank you. I have her.
All right, so let us go ahead on and get started this evening. I will go back and share my screen. Before I share my screen, I do want to thank our attendees for joining us this evening. And I also want to thank our board of directors who are on our session tonight. This is really an informational session for families. Again, the link to the presentation is in the chat. And we would like for you to utilize the Q&A or raise your hand function, and we will follow up with you accordingly. But this is just an opportunity for us to share with you where we are with our strategic plan, more specifically, what is our focus for this school year, and give you the opportunity to share some comments or get feedback from us as the administration. So I'm going to go ahead on and share my screen. And we will get started. So you should see in front of you Strategic Plan Rollout, Parents and Community, September the 13th, 2021. Thank you very much. I see that we see that. So let's keep rolling. I'm going to talk a little bit about vision, mission, and values of the William Penn School District. We're going to do a strategic plan deep dive just on some highlighted areas, and then we're going to open it up for questions. One of the things I do want to share is that whenever you as a community member or family member have questions regarding the strategic plan, please feel free to reach out to my office or to our communications office, and we will be responsive and follow up with you accordingly. One of the things we want to talk about this evening is what's really most important to us. And you can see in the middle we have here, this is a Wordle, and you'll see that the main word is schools, and then the other one I would say to you is learning. And so this Wordle aligns directly to who we are and our vision as a school district. And I know all of us can read, but I will read some items for everyone this evening. But the main focus here of our district is to make sure that we nurture and empower all of our students to become career and or college ready. And I would emphasize the and or, because we want to make sure that if your interest is to go to college or to go directly into a career, that we're supporting you and making sure that you're able to do that. So that is the vision. That's who we are. That's our vision. Our mission talks more about what we should be doing on a daily basis, what we strive to do. And so this mission is what's been in place in our district. We did review it again when we developed this version of our strategic plan. And so you'll see certain words are highlighted, if you will, or are in red. And we wanted to really hone in on various things. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this first paragraph where it talks about the district will support all staff. So we just don't talk about English teachers, math teachers, talk about all staff. That is our mission. And we are supporting all of them to make sure that they're providing a data-driven, student-centered, differentiated instruction. So that's probably like a lot. So what does that really mean? We want to make sure that students are being supported based upon their individual needs, and that we are doing things within the classroom based upon the data that we have in front of us. So we will be utilizing various assessments this school year to make sure that we're able to determine where students are and that we're able to move them to the next level based upon what the initial assessment indicates to us. Secondly, in this mission, we indicate that we want to ensure that all staff in partnership with our communities create a positive, nurturing, and supportive climate that encourages all of our students to basically pursue their passion. So our mission is to make sure that we have an environment that is conducive to learning. And we know that we can't do it alone. So we have to do this in partnership with members of our community. Most of you and some of you are on this Zoom right now. And then lastly, our mission is to make sure that we have committed individuals who are ensuring the academic success of all of our students. And we want to make sure that as those people come into our organization, not only do they come in, but we want to retain them. So those are the three, I would say, key points that we try to achieve on a daily, monthly, and annual basis within the William Penn School District. And so what are our values? What do we believe? And so you'll see here with these values, a lot of it revolves around what we should believe as individuals. So we talk about the fact that everybody that's a part of our organization has worth, the fact that they can learn. We believe that education is a right as well as a privilege. And we also believe that we can do our work, and we have to do our work with and through our community. We also believe that our diversity is a strength. We believe that there is strength and power in diversity. All of us are not the same, but we can definitely benefit from each other's differences. We also believe that not only do we have a responsibility for students learning, but students also have a responsibility as well as teachers. And then the community also has a responsibility for educating its youth as well. So with our shared values, our mission, and our vision, this is what's important to us as an organization. And this is what we will be focusing on as we go throughout this year and into the future. So just want to take a pause right here for a moment and just ask you, was there anything that you found interesting, surprising, or what would you like to learn more about? And I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. Hopefully everyone has access to the presentation. But really the question is there anything that you found interesting, surprising, or anything that you would like to learn more about as it relates to our shared values, our mission, or our vision? So I'm going to take a moment and give us a couple of minutes, and I'm just going to stop sharing and see if there are any attendees who have a question in reference to our vision, mission, or values this evening. So you can raise your hand or you can type something in the Q&A. All right. So either I'm doing an excellent job or you guys are just very, very smart. And it's probably the second part. You guys are very, very smart and you know this and it's clear and you understand it. So great. I'm going to keep moving, but know that you can raise your hand at any point to stop us, okay? Because this is really about us being all on the same page. Okay, hold on. I see a question in the Q&A. Let's see. Oh, we have 2 questions. I am thankful that all employees are being supported. This is not past practice. Thank you very much for sharing that. I like the community engagement piece. It's so important. We definitely agree with the community engagement piece. And, you know, one thing I will share on both ends, we're striving to improve what we're doing. And so I do thank Ms. Faber and Ms. Lewis for sharing those comments. So these 2 things were answered live. All right. So I'm going to keep moving to the next portion. So our strategic plan. So I know most of you have probably seen our strategic plan, but I think it's important to first start off by just thanking our families and our community. I firmly believe that this is a community-driven strategic plan. You will see that this is our website, and on our website, we do have a link right here that takes you to the strategic plan. And so on this page, we actually provide you with a PDF version, flip book version, and then we outline for you some of the strategies and areas within the plan, and then the listing of members who are a part of the development of the actual strategic plan. And so you'll also note that there were various sessions that we held throughout last year, well, actually this year, all in 2021, to actually develop the plan. So this is where our plan is located, and wanted you to see that information here for yourself. And now we're going to actually go into some of the highlights of the actual plan itself. So one of the priorities, as you can imagine, deals with what? Student achievement, right? That makes sense. That's what you would expect the school district to focus on. So one of the things we want to do in priority 1, goal 3, specifically speaks to realizing a 30 percentage point increase in our scores. And so our students are assessed annually on the PSSA, that's the Pennsylvania State School Assessment, as well as Keystone exams. The PSSA are for students in grades 3 through 8, and the Keystone primarily are for students in grades 9 through 12. There may be instances in where you have an 8th grader take a Keystone exam as well in the area of algebra. So what are we going to do as an organization to make sure that that goal is actually achieved? So there are 3 action strategies that we really have in place. Action strategy 1 speaks to the fact that we are going to have a comprehensive system of instructional planning. And so right now we have been, this past summer as well as last year, we've been working on the common planning time cycle. And what does that mean? And really, it's a way for schools and teachers to assess what the curriculum calls for or what the curriculum dictates we should be teaching. Sit down as a group and agree on these are things that we expect for students to learn. And as a result of that, how are our students performing? So there are going to be assessments that are part of that instructional planning. We look at the results from those assessments, and then we support student learning, and we have feedback cycles aligned to that. So you may hear that if you go to a open house, or as you look at and get report cards, you may have students, some of your students, if they're in high school, or some of the teachers talk about common planning time. So that's a phrase that we will be utilizing this year as we begin to really work toward making improvements on our standardized assessments. The second strategy deals with actually having an assessment system in place. So we were fortunate with our ESSER dollars to have new curriculum in the area of mathematics as well as in science. Last year, we were able to acquire new ELA curriculum, English Language Arts curriculum. So we now have new curriculum. So with that curriculum, we also receive assessments, and assessments help us to determine where a student is along their grade spectrum. So for example, if you have a fifth grade student, the assessment will tell us, is the student really working or operating on a fifth grade level? If that student is below grade level, there are some intervention strategies and tools that each one of the curriculums help us to support students' growth. If a student is above grade level, there are also some things within the curriculum that would help us to promote advancing the student accordingly, or giving the student more challenging work. So that is something that we have in place to help us in terms of increasing outcomes for students. And then the last strategy, you may have heard of MTSS, and that's a multi-tiered system of support. And that's a way where we monitor and intervene for students. In my mind, this is a way for us to limit the number of students who may require special education services. And so there are 3 tiers that are basically aligned or support the work that goes into this particular strategy. And so our goal is to make sure that we erase or remove barriers toward that student's achievement. So these are 3 strategies that we have in place. I know this is probably things that happen in the background, but I wanted to make sure that families understood, in order for us to focus on or improve outcomes for students, we have to focus on instructional planning, which is also known as common planning time, making sure that we have quality assessments in place, and then making sure that we have a multi-tiered system of support to support all of our students, right, regardless of your actual grade level and placement within that actual level. Another one of our priorities deals with, and this is the one here where we're really focusing on partnerships. So where are we in this work? This particular goal speaks to the fact that we want to accelerate learning through external partnerships. So we want to do things that are a little bit different, if you will. So we've started our personalized, our PLC, our personalized learning community, if you will. And so that is really structured to support students who may learn in a different model. And we are hopeful that that program or that model will help us to not only educate students who want an option, students will also be able to get credit recovery through this program, as well as summer opportunities. We will also be looking at twilight programs. So if a child wants to take another class or engage in a course, they're able to do that. And it may be at night. So this would be a way in which students could gain additional credits, if you will, at the high school level. We've also, this past summer in Action Strategy 2, we did have in place a summer school academy. And we are very, very hopeful that we will continue this next summer. And this is basically being financed through our ESSER dollars as well. And so this past summer, we were able to focus on not only the academics, we were able to have activities in the arts as well as athletics. So this is another strategy that we have in place to really help us in terms of partnering with people externally. So most of, or actually all of the organizations that we partnered with to roll out the Summer School Academy were external partners, and we partnered with them in an effort to broaden the horizons, if you will, for our offerings. Action Strategy 3 talks to us improving our partnership with the Delaware County Community College. And I'm pleased to share with you, there will be an announcement that will be made on the 15th of this month, actually Wednesday, at the high school, where we are engaging in another partnership with the Delaware County Community College. And it's really in an effort to make sure that we're supporting more students and more students have greater access to higher learning opportunities. So stay tuned. You will be hearing more about that Action Strategy 3 on this coming Wednesday. Action Strategy 4 deals with pursuing grant opportunities. And I will be truthfully transparent here. This is an area where we do need some help in terms of pursuing grant opportunities. There is a vacant position that we have within our district whose responsibility is to help us with pursuing grant opportunities. Although that position is vacant, we are still pursuing grant opportunities, but I think we can definitely and will definitely be pursuing more of them as we fill that position. And that position actually is a research and evaluation supervisor. So we are hopeful that that position will be filled, hopefully before the end of the first quarter of this school year. And then the last piece here in Action Strategy 5 is wanting to create and have more mentoring programs. It was interesting to me that this was something that a lot of our students spoke to, that they wanted more mentoring programs to support students. So some of you may be familiar with, there's a program at the high school level for ODAP. It's called ODAP, and it does support young ladies. They've made a request to expand that program for young men. And we're also looking at other mentoring programs that we will hopefully be starting within the first quarter of this school year. So these are just, again, some of the strategies that we are looking at as it relates to partnerships that foster not only resilience, but excellence as well as community within our particular school district. And then the next area I want to highlight for you is priority 2, goal 4, where it talks about family engagement. And this is really where we need all of our families to be engaged across all grade levels. And although you see here, it says by September 2024, when I see the word by, that means if we do it ahead of that time, that's great. We don't have to wait until 2024. So one of the things we definitely want to do, and we will be doing, is we will be reaching out very, very soon to make sure that we are talking about family involvement, specifically with our home and school associations. And that's really in an effort to promote more growth. And then the second strategy deals with the establishment of a family advisory council. So you will be hearing information about joining the Family Advisory Council later this month. And that council will really serve as, if you will, a sounding board for the superintendent for the district as we look at ways in which we can support our families. We know that we cannot do this in isolation or alone. And from my viewpoint, this is a main focus or goal of mine, is to make sure that we strengthen this component. Because if our families are strong, we know that our students will show up in school and be strong as well. So that's another area of focus for us for this school year as well. The next item I wanted to talk about is making sure that we have an equity model for the allocation of resources. We know that we do not have many financial resources, and so we need to make sure that we are providing the resources to the schools that have the students in greatest need, or serving students who need additional support. So we will be analyzing our spending per student by building, and then coming up with ways or structures in which we are making sure that, let's say, for example, if one school has more students who require special education services, that school may get $1.50 per student versus $1 per student to support the need for their special education services. That's just one way that some districts have done it. We are looking at different models. If you have students who require English or have English as a second language, you may provide additional supports for them. So rather than have everyone in every school be allocated at $1 per student, and I'm using $1 as an example, you may increase the allocation per student based upon the need of the students within that particular school. So that is something that we are considering and looking at, and we will be bringing information to our board as we look at allocating resources for the next school year, which would be 2022-23. So I know I've shared a lot, And so I go back to the same questions. Anything interesting, surprising? What would you like to learn more about? This is our time for a dialogue. And I see that we have 3 items in the chat. I'm sorry, 4 items in the chat and 1 in the Q&A. So I'm going to go to the Q&A first. So it says, I have a child that needs an IEP and has been denied twice. From what I have been told, what should I do to ensure she receives the help that she needs? My thought there is that we work directly with the school, and there is a way for us to do an assessment of your child's needs. And based upon that assessment, we can make some determinations as to the level of support that definitely should be provided. Our assistant superintendent for academic services is on this webinar. And we are, hello, Ms. Triplett. We will make sure that we also follow up or can follow up with you if the school still needs to provide some additional support. But that is our process if there is a need. So if that did not answer your question, please let me know and we can come back to that. I think that was the only one I had in the Q&A. And then we have 5 items in the chat, but I believe these are just links to the presentation. That is correct. Are there any other questions that we have from the attendees that are on our session tonight? Okay, resources for our advanced kids are so needed. They often get left behind, are bored, and lose interest. Thank you for bringing that up. That is something that we are looking to potentially address through the MTSS process. Through that process, you actually identify students who may need, I would say, to be pushed or stretched a little bit. And so that is something that we will be trying to address this year as we look at a student's needs, because I agree we need to also not only address the students who need the additional support to get on grade level, but for those students who are advanced, we do need to consider how we support those students as well. The next question speaks to, can we look into busing for athletes? We can. That was a question that that came up, I believe, at our last board meeting, if I'm not mistaken. There was a staff member at the high school who wanted us to look into late buses. I believe that's what they're called or have been called. And so we have not started that conversation, but we are going to have it. I think there should be something that we should be able to do. And I always know that there are 2 sides to every story. So we're going to be taking all feedback and input. And I am going to be asking our board to provide me with some historical perspective on that as well. So stay tuned for that. And then, how will these resources and program be funded after COVID is over? That is an awesome question. Our budget this year is aligned to the work that we're doing in the strategic plan. Some of that, some of the COVID funding has helped us. To be truthfully honest, it has. That's why I had said earlier, the grant person is very critical to a lot of the work that we're trying to do within the district. And so we will be looking at utilizing grant funds, and there are grant funds are available to support some of these initiatives. There are 2 partnerships that I am currently working on that would support our students as well as our teachers. That would be at no cost to our district. So more information is coming in reference to that as well. So we are looking at the partnership piece where you can partner with an organization at no cost and get benefits for your students, grant opportunities, as well as the some of the COVID funding will definitely help us. One of the areas that I would highlight also with the COVID funding is we are going to be looking at all of our facilities, and we will be probably sharing recommendations and coming up with some next steps that we will be presenting out. I believe it's in October, I want to say. I believe our property meeting is the first Thursday or either Wednesday. I don't have it right in front of me. I apologize if somebody can just correct me if I'm wrong with that, but I know we have a property meeting coming up, but it will be posted on our website as well. And I would encourage all of our family members to be a part of that. I think I have a few more slides. God bless you. I think I have a few more slides that I want to highlight.
Property committee is October 6th, Dr. Becoats.
Thank you so much. Property committee meeting is October the 6th. Thank you. So questions or thoughts? I know some of you have shared some things with us. That's really our main focus right now for our strategic plan. Obviously, the academics is one, and then putting in systems to support students is another. And our facilities master plan is going to be key, because in that we will be addressing various items from athletics, as well as the actual use of our buildings, and what are some next steps to making some improvements there. But I do want to open up the session for families to provide comments or other items in the Q&A. So I'm going to pause for a minute, or you can raise your hand and we will acknowledge you and you can speak. All right. I don't see any hands or items in the Q&A. I'm actually going to take a picture of the people, the attendees who are here, because I will make sure that we celebrate the fact that this is our A group. They are advanced, they are smart, they're knowledgeable. And I really do want to ask you to please consider, when you receive information about our Family Advisory Council, would you please consider joining the council? That will be very, very important for us. And again, I do want to hear from our family members as we continue to make improvements within the William Penn School District. This session has been recorded. We will be putting it on our website for others to view. We understand that, you know, people may have had other obligations this evening, but we will be putting this out for individuals to view as well. I do want to give the opportunity to any of our board of directors to share any comments that you may have this evening, because we do have 4 of you joining us: Jennifer Hoff, Joy Hopkins, Wadia Ivory, and Valerie Cook-Henry. Would any of you like to share any comments or anything with our community while we have them?
I'll just add that I'm very excited for Focus Forward 2025. I think it's an outstanding opportunity for our school district, our communities, and our families and guardians. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Any other board of director? All right. Well, we thank you for your time. This will not be the last opportunity we have. We will have many others. I would just ask you to please stay safe and take care, and we'll see you soon. And thank you for joining us this evening. Good night.